This is a quick video on how to simplify radicals. So we know that when we're looking at a square root, we know that that means that there's really a 2 right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a factor tree and we're going to look for groups of 2. So I can start with any two numbers that multiply to 360. So I'm going to pick 36 and 10. And then I know that 10 is 5 and 2. And I'm going to cross out every number once I've factored it, because then that's going to help me keep myself organized. So 36 I know is 6 and 6. 6 is 2 and 3. And 6 is 2 and 3. So now I look at my prime factors, which are the numbers that are not crossed out. And again, I'm looking for groups of 2 because this is a square root. So I have a group of 2 right there, and I have a group of 2 3s right there. So the 2 and the 3 come on the outside of the square root, and then the numbers left over are going to get multiplied on the inside. So that 5 and that 2. So this would be 6 square root of 10. Now on the next one, this tells me that there's going to need to be 3 numbers in a group in order to take one out. So I'm going to take 75 and 10. And then 75 is 25 and 3. And 10 is 5 and 2. And I'm going to cross out the numbers I factored. And then I know 25 is 5 and 5. So now this time I'm looking for 3 numbers in a group in order to take one of them out. So here I have 3 5s. So I'm going to take a 5 out on the outside. And this is the cube root of, I multiply my 2 numbers that are left. So 3 times 2. So this would be 5 times the cube root of 6. I'll put a box around my answers here. The same thing happens when you have variables. So I can factor this again. We know there's a 2 there, so that's going to tell me that I need groups of 2. So 36 is 6 and 6, 2 and 3, 2 and 3. And then when I have x to the 4th power, that means I have 1, 2, 3, 4 x's. And y to the 6th means that I have 6 y's. So again, I'm looking for groups of 2. So I have a group of 2 2s. I have a group of 2 3s. So that's going to be 2 times 3. I have 2 groups of x's. And I have 3 groups of y's. And I circled everything, which means there's no more square root and I don't have to write anything underneath it. So then I just multiply all this together. I get 6x squared y to the 3rd. Okay. The next thing is, what do we do if we're multiplying or dividing with square roots? So you kind of think of this as a variable. So if I had 5x times 4x, I'm just going to multiply them together. So if we multiply, if we multiply these together, this is going to be 5 times 4 and square root of 2 times square root of 2. So that's 20. And this is square root of 2 times square root of 2 is going to be the square root of 4, which is just 2. And so we end up getting 40. So you multiply the square roots together and you multiply the numbers out front together. Okay, so this one would be square root of 2 times the square root of 18 would turn into the square root of 36 because we multiply the numbers underneath. And then if you can simplify, just like we did on the previous slide, we can do 6 times 6, 2 times 3, 2 times 3. So I have a group of 2s and I have a group of 3s. So that ends up being 2 times 3 or just 6. Okay, and finally, when we're dividing, we can break it up into two parts. We can actually take the square root of 144 on the top and the square root of x to the 8th on the bottom. So we know that the square root of 144 is just 12. You can also make a factor tree if you don't know that. And we know that if we have x to the 8th, we have 8 x's. And it's a square root, so we're looking for groups of 2. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 groups. So x to the 4th. So that's how we multiply and divide.